Half an hour later, Xianxia breathed out gently, stepped forward, came to the monster beast's corpse, bent over and stretched out his hand into its abdomen, and took out its sachet and core. A bizarre scent permeated and entered the nose, which made people feel refreshed and extremely comfortable. This monster beast is really related to the colorful elk. Even if it is not a direct bloodline, it should be a product of hybridization. Although its sachet and core cannot be used to refine a treasure like 10,000 years incense, it can be used to refine some spirit pill to resist the heart demons. This kind of medicine pill is extremely precious. It is the thing that cultivators want most when breaking through the Great Realm, and it is also the most difficult to get. It is hard to find a medicine pill, and the sachets and core has fallen to the hands of Xianxia, who is an alchemy expert. It will definitely play a huge role and bring unimaginable value. For Xianxia, the battle just now was not a thrilling one, but it took a lot of trouble. Xianxia simply couldn't kill it by relying on the blade of space alone. The speed of the monster beast was too fast, and it wanted to escape after seeing an opportunity. How could Xianxia make it easy for the monster beast to escape? He immediately sacrificed his own piece of split cloud sea formation array and turned it into a sea of clouds to envelop it. With the help of the power of the split cloud sea formation array to trap it, of course it will succeed. The formation plate of split cloud sea formation array was brought out by Xianxia from the Emperor Garden, and it was extremely wonderful. When Feijitu and others were trapped in it, they also suffered a lot. With Xianxia's current strength combined with the space blade and golden blood red, how could the monster beast be spared? The beast core is the most precious thing in this monster beast, but the body of the 9th order peak monster beast can't be wasted. Xianxia thought for a while, took out the dragon bone verdant sword, and poured the Saint Chi into it. The dragon bone verdant sword immediately turned into a young green dragon with a length of 10 feet, swallowing the body of the monster beast into its abdomen, and then vomiting it out after a while. Only the shriveled corpse was left. The flesh and blood essence seemed to have been swallowed up. Xianxia smiled. The dragon bone verdant sword is an artifact that can grow by devouring the flesh and blood essence of the enemy, and its power will become stronger and stronger. He put it away with satisfaction, then urged more Saint Chi, and withdrew the split cloud sea formation array. After retrieving the formation plate, Xianxia turned his head and glanced in the direction where the 5 people were leaving, and the sound of wind and thunder behind his back was loud. The wind and thunder wings were revealed, and the figure flickered, and the person had disappeared in place. At the same time, thousands of miles away from this place, in a certain natural cave, all the 5 Void Return stage who had previously fought against the monster beast gathered here. This cave seems to be a home of some monster beast. It seemed to be a python type, but it had been abandoned for a long time, and the environment was dry, so it was used by the 5 as a temporary resting place. A simple concealment formation was also laid out outside. The variant of the colorful elk hasn't chased for a long time. It seems that the kid should have led it away. It's not bad. Although the kid's cultivation level is not high, he should have practiced some secret escape skills, and the speed is not slow. Among the 5, the black-haired old man said with joy after spending a long time exploring outside. With his cultivation level, I am afraid it will be difficult to escape the poisonous hand. The petite woman with the lowest cultivation level showed a trace of sadness, as if feeling a little guilty. What is the life and death of others to us? This trip to the Emperor Garden was originally thought to be full of surprises, but did not expect it to have danger at every step. Step by step, the 5 of us have survived until now. It is only a fluke. How can we take care of someone else? The white-haired old man snorted coldly. Another middle-aged woman also said, yes, I didn't expect that the interior of the Emperor Garden was so dangerous. Now there are only 5 of us from the original group of 10. If it weren't for the early retreat, I'm afraid I would have long since died. Hey? The black-haired old man sighed lightly, and laughed at himself. It's true that the older you are, the less courage you have. Although there are many crises in the Emperor Garden, there are many benefits. If I'm still young, the old man will definitely not quit. It's just that the age is already old and far than how it was back then. This remark made the white-haired old man also resonated, and nodded. Yes, if it was back then, how could we not dare go? Even Tiger's lair can also be broke through, but now. There was another long sigh. For a while, there was silence in the cave, and only the weak breathing of 5 people came out. After about half a cup of tea time, there was a loud shout from outside. This Yang has seen all the friends, and I want to ask about some things. I wonder if you can tell me something? The voice came to the ears clearly, and the complexion of all 5 people who were sitting cross-legged meditating changed drastically. The white-haired old man immediately shouted, "Who?" When he was checking around earlier, he hasn't found any traces of anyone. This gave the white-haired old man a warning sign in his heart. He secretly rejoices that the visitor did not attack him, otherwise if he has any evil intentions, the 5 of them are already dead by the sneak attack. There was a hearty laughter outside. It's not long since I parted with you, don't you remember? Well, I will introduce myself first. I am Xianxia. Xianxia. Several people frowned, but when the spiritual mind swept outward, they all showed shock expression. It was the kid just now. Not only did he not die, but he also got rid of the monster beast. How is this possible? The 5 of them looked at each other and were very curious about how Xianxia escaped from the monster beast, but there were some concerns. After all, when the 5 of them ran away just now, they all meant to use Xianxia as a shield. Now he is chasing them over. They don't know what it means. Brother Min. The black-haired old man looked at the white-haired old man with hesitation on his face. It's okay. Listening from his tone, it's not for revenge. Moreover, his cultivation level is not high. Even if he is seeking revenge, does he have the ability? Let him come in. The white-haired old man said freely. He could not be blamed for his lack of eyesight. After all, Xianxia's cultivation realm was clear, and he was alone. He thought even if the other party want to take a revenge, he could not make a waves in front of his 5 people. Hearing the words, the black-haired old man waved out a Saint Chi. Temporarily closed the aura concealment formation, and said politely, "Little friends, please come in." Thank you. Xianxia smiled slightly, stepped forward, and walked toward the cave without any intention to guard anything, causing the 5 people in the cave to be a little bit astonished. The opponent is alone, yet so bold, either because he has a brain problem, he doesn't know the sinister world, or he has something to rely on. He did not put the 5 of them in his eyes. The latter is unlikely. So obviously it is the former one. Looking at it, the other party seemed to be young, but he had the cultivation level of void return stage. It was probably a disciple of some powerful force who cultivate in the sect all year round, with no contact with outsider. Thinking of this, the expressions of the 5 people in the cave alleviated a lot. Such people are easy to deal with. The area of the cave is small. About 10 meters round or so. The inside was dark. After Xianxia fell into it, he turned to look around and nodded secretly. Although the actions of these 5 people when they fled just now made him uncomfortable, they still don't seem to be big bullies, otherwise he would definitely attack them as soon as he came. At least they didn't show any malice right now, and the petite woman nodded slightly at him. The other women seemed to be a little cautious and awkward, as if she felt a little guilty for what she did just now. Not bad, Xianxia was thinking before that if these people didn't know what they did wrong, he would definitely not be merciful. It seems that it saves some trouble. Xianxia, I have seen you all. Xianxia slightly clasped his fists and said with a smile. Little friend Yang, you are welcome. The white-haired old man seemed to be the leader of this group. He also wittily didn't ask how Xianxia escaped from that monster beast's fierce power. Instead, he introduced himself kindly. Old man Minshaw, the owner of Loose Moon Island, these are all my best friends. The demeanor was easygoing, as if nothing had happened before. Loose Moon Island? Xianxia frowned and looked blank. However, since the other party is the owner of an island, he should be living overseas. It is normal that he have never heard of it. After all, he have never been overseas, and he have only dealt with the Sea Heart sect family before. Yang Kai took it for granted, but Min Xiao's next words made him dumbfounded and stunned on the spot. Well, Loose Moon Island is an island on the Azure Tree Star. Naturally, it's impossible for little friend to have heard of it. I don't know which star little friend Yang comes from. Min Xiao asked. Azure Tree Star? Yang Kai opened his eyes wide, staring at Min Xiao and others in shock. His mood was fluctuating for a while. However, his thinking was also quite quick. Although Min Xiao didn't say much, it was just 2 sentences, but he heard some unexpected information from it, and asked in surprise, Island Master Min, could it be that Emperor Garden is accessible to not only star martial artist? As soon as the words came out, all 5 laughed. Yang Kai scratched his head and stood in awkward position, knowing that he must have asked the wrong question. Could the star that little friend Yang came from is in a remote place? Min Xiao boldly speculated. What Island Master Min said is true. The star this Yang came from are indeed relatively remote, so. Yang Kai nodded slightly. Oh, it's no wonder. Min Xiao looked clear. The same is true of our Azure Tree Star. It is remote and inconvenient to communicate with the outside world. Originally, the old man and others have the same idea as little friend Yang, thinking that when entering the Emperor Garden, only the cultivator of my Azure Tree Star could be found after I came in. But later we found that the cultivators of the entire star territory can enter this place. The old man also asked someone to inquire that day and found that the Emperor Garden casts phantoms on every star. With the Imperial Jade, you can use that space law formation to be teleported here. It turned out to be like this? Yang Kai murmured, and said casually, this Yang's shadowed star is probably in the same situation as your Azure Tree Star. Shadowed star? All 5 frowned. Obviously they had never heard of it. However, even if the Azure Tree Star is remote and inconvenient to communicate with the outside world, it must be much better than the shadowed star. The shadowed star is almost isolated from the world, and it is impossible to establish contact with other places in the star territory. Azure Tree Star is definitely not in this kind of state. To be continued.